What's going on, everyone? So Mo Bamba has been a pretty decent bright spot with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's very raw, is a guy that's going to need to be developed, is a bit of a project. I mean, there's a reason the Orlando Magic gave him to us for essentially a second-round pick. Patrick Beverley, they were never going to play him. They were like, here, you want Mo Bamba, take him. So he's going to be a project, but he still has had some value on this Lakers team. He still has been very solid. And unfortunately, he got hurt, rolled his ankle, and missed the Warriors game. And we have no information at the time of recording this video of, is he going to miss any time? How bad was it? How severe was it? Just know that he rolled it and then he missed some time, which really sucks. Like, we're losing everyone to like rolled ankles, which is crazy. We need to like tighten up our shoes or do something because this is becoming a real problem. But nonetheless, if Mo Bamba is out and we don't have him for a reasonable time, if it's like a game or so, I think we can weather the storm. But if it turns out to be like a D'Angelo Russell thing, this could be an issue. Obviously, we don't have D'Angelo Russell, so that in and of itself is a bit of a problem. And we're hearing reports that Kemba Walker, the Lakers are working out Kemba Walker, and they're considering bringing him in to just be another solid ball handler. I think Kemba Walker could, in a pinch, be a very solid contributor to this team. A guy that doesn't really turn the ball over. He's a veteran presence. He's shown that he can still score. We saw that with Dallas. I mean, he had like, what, a 32-point game and almost single-handedly won a game by himself pretty much when he was with Dallas. But Dallas wanted to go younger. They wanted to go a different route. And then ultimately, Kyrie became available, and that kind of changed the course for Dallas. But at the time, it made sense why they let Kemba Walker go. And now he's just been kind of floating, waiting for somebody to pick him up. I wouldn't mind if that team is the Lakers. But if the Lakers do get D'Lo back and he's able to ride it out, then you have D'Lo, you have Schroeder. Austin Reeves can kind of play point guard in a pinch. I think it's really going to come down to, are we going to get D'Lo back for that Memphis game? If it's still another like week or so before D'Lo is out, again, that kind of becomes an issue. And we may need to address the point guard position. But if D'Lo is able to come back, then we should really start looking at the center position. I mean, you can make an argument we could use the center position again, you know, like some type of sizable player, whether it's DeMarcus Cousins or Hassan Whiteside or something along those lines, right? We could use some size down low. You could make that argument even before Mo Bamba went down, right? Especially come playoff time, how much you're going to be able to rely on Mo. Although the idea is like Anthony Davis is going to play 32 plus minutes, 32 to 42 minutes a game, very likely, right? That's the idea. But if you don't really need a point guard, personally, I still kind of lean towards the Lakers are probably not going to sign anyone with that 15th roster spot. I think they just go into the postseason with 14 guys. It's just my guess. But if they wanted to, they could even do maybe a couple 10 days, try to kind of work some guys in and just kind of get a feel, just see, like, can any of these guys play well? And maybe you find that maybe Kemba comes in and he's just great. He's shooting the lights out and he's just really taking over and killing it. And now you got this like spark plug off the bench that you could go into the playoffs with. That could be a possibility. Or again, we look at some sizable centers. They worked out DeMarcus Cousins. We know we worked out him, and we know that they worked out Myers Leonard, but Myers Leonard, he's off the market. He ended up going to the Milwaukee Bucks. But the Lakers, maybe you go and take a look at DeMarcus Cousins for just a rotation spot on a 10-day deal. Because if Mo Bamba does miss any kind of time, we have Anthony Davis and then Winning Gabriel. And look, I like Winning Gabriel. I think some matchups he's great in, right? Like the Warriors today, you could play him heavy minutes if you need to because of his high energy, and they don't have really any like 7-foot guys, right? They're not running real centers. They're running power forwards that are centers, so Winning can match up. But Toronto, who we're going to play, right? They got Jakob Poeltl now. It'd be nice to have a guy like DeMarcus Cousins who Anthony Davis doesn't have to just be the sole one to kind of wear him down. The Knicks, be nice. They have some size. They have a real center. And Robinson, it'd be nice to have like a DeMarcus Cousins that could come in and do that. Like those bigger teams that have like real centers, you need a guy. And maybe DeMarcus Cousins, best case scenario, DeMarcus Cousins comes in. He shows the ability to stretch the floor. He can play some solid defense. He can kind of, if he can keep prevent himself from getting into his own head, that would be huge, right? because that's the big problem is that he just gets technicals a lot. He's like, just kind of becomes a knucklehead on the court at times. And that's a real problem. I mean, even the Warriors, right? There's the whole interview where DeMarcus Cousins, he calls up Bob Myers and he's like, hey, why can't I get a job? And he's like, point blank, because people are afraid of what you're going to do in the locker room and on the basketball court, right? It has nothing to do with your skill set. It's just, what are you going to do? Are you going to explode? Are you going to be a problem? So if DeMarcus Cousins can come in, buy in, not be that problem, I think he has some real value. It'd be nice to have a guy like him to bang down low with the jokers of the world, especially come playoff times. If he can come in and show like, hey, I could play 10 to 15 minutes a game. I'm in shape. I can knock down the three ball. I can be physical. I can be that sort of enforcer, for you. I could be that sort of, bouncer down low and just cause some trouble, cause some mayhem, rough some people up. I'm all for that. That would be great, right? He's going to be a bit of a liability, but you're not asking him to come in and be, your starter from day one. You're not asking him to come in and be the guy that's going to change the landscape of your roster. You're asking him to come in and hold it down, give him like a little 10-day contract, see if he can kind of work his way in. If he's great, cool, then maybe sign him for the rest of the season and bring him in and get ready for the playoffs. It wouldn't hurt to have a guy like DeMarcus Cousins. Not just that, but you could play him and Anthony Davis together, right? Like DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis have played side by side before, and you might have that ability to kind of, maybe revamp DeMarcus Cousins a little bit, especially when Mo gets back. Just match some size, especially like, say you end up having a matchup in the play-in against let's say the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? You're going to have to match up against Rudy Gobert. I think DeMarcus Cousins, I like that matchup better than AD and Gobert just because Marcus Cousins is bigger, he's more physical, more aggressive, and then you have AD on Anthony Towns. I like that matchup. You could do something like that. It just gives you some flexibility. I don't mind the idea of DeMarcus Cousins at all. I still think if D'Lo's out for a significant amount of time, I think point guard is more important than a center because, again, you can always work it out, right? If we have to go small ball, we have to go small ball. Anthony Davis is going to end up playing 35 to 40 minutes a game anyway with this Lakers team, especially with AD out. We're going to have to really ride him. It sucks, and there's the concern of injury, but the reality is we don't have many choices, right? It's not like we have a bunch of choices and a bunch of options to not ride Anthony Davis. He's going to have to carry us, right? So he's going to be playing 38 minutes a game. Today, I believe he played 38 minutes. So we definitely need that. But DeMarcus Cousins can come in and kind of help alleviate some of that stuff. Now, obviously, DeMarcus Cousins isn't a running big, and we still like to play fast. But he is a guy that gives you a different look, and you could kind of operate in the half court. It also gives you that floor stretching big. He has a relationship with Darvin Ham, with the Milwaukee Bucks. So I could see that connection. I could see that being the case. But I still, personally, really lean towards Hassan Whiteside. I think Hassan Whiteside, he gives you the floor runner, right? A lob threat, helps improve your rebounding, helps improve your shot blocking, he's basically a sort of upgraded version of Mo Bamba on the defensive end. He doesn't have the floor spacing or ability to do that like a DeMarcus Cousins does or a Mo Bamba does, but he is a guy that is an elite rebounder. He's always been an elite rebounder, and he's always been an elite shot blocker. And a guy that you could play next to Anthony Davis, allow AD to be at the 4. You could have him match up with Rudy Gobert. He's also familiar with Rudy, and they've had, their little back and forth and practices and stuff like that when he played on the Utah Jazz with him. So a guy that understands him, a guy that, could match up if you were to play a team like that, or just any team in general, right? He also just gives you that other shot blocker, that help defender, kind of, lock down the paint. Make teams kind of have to play a certain way because it's like, man, they got Hassan Whiteside and they got Anthony Davis down low and they still have Mo Bamba backing him up. I don't mind the idea of another center. Look, Anthony Davis, whether people like it or not, Anthony Davis is playing center the rest of the season. He's going to play center in the playoffs if we make the playoffs. However you slice it, that's how it's going to go. But Mo Bamba, come playoff time, it might be better to have a more experienced vet type player that can fill and play the backup role so you don't have to rely on an already raw, already needing developed Mo Bamba, who now is going to come in and have to play a role on a playoff team, and you might be expecting a lot from him, and you just might not get it, right? At least Hassan Whiteside, he's been in the league a long time. He's a guy that's been in the playoffs. He understands what it takes. He's a guy that can fill in that void, fill in that hole. I don't hate the idea. You could also run some interesting stats with Mo Bamba at maybe the 4, right? Like I wouldn't do it heavily, but Mo Bamba's ability to stretch the floor and knock down the 3 ball, I think could really help, right? And you could run those twin tower sets because Anthony Davis and Mo Bamba can both shoot the ball. So you could run and just give different looks alongside Hassan Whiteside. I like the idea of bringing in some vets. I know some people don't want a guy after, a certain age or whatever, but you need vets to lead you, especially come playoff time. You need guys that can come in and actually have an impact without having to have concerns of like, is this guy going to show up or not? Plus, Hassan Whiteside's still 33 years old, so it's not like he's like this old, type player that's 36, 37 and just completely washed up. And again, just like I said with DeMarcus Cousins, you're not asking him to play a huge role. You're not asking him to come in and save the franchise or save the team. No, you're just asking him just come in, play, 10 to 15 minutes a game, and just do what you're best at. Get some solid rebounds, block some shots, get some putbacks, get some offensive boards, be a lob threat, dunk it home. Right? I mean, even DeMarcus Cousins, 32 years old, but Hassan Whiteside doesn't have the extensive injury history that DeMarcus Cousins does. So because either of these guys, neither of them have played this year. So, regardless, however you shape it, both have locker room issues and concerns. Both are very different players and provide different things. But I'd like to go more with the defensive end, especially if you can help Anthony Davis down low as in the paint. Because Anthony Davis just has to make up so much ground. It's insane. It'd be nice to have somebody that you don't need, that can come in and just kind of help take some of that pressure away. It's just a thought. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Who would you rather have? Would you rather go the point guard route, get a Kemba Walker? Are you like, no, go get DeMarcus Cousins? Would you like Hassan Whiteside? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments.